Who the hell in their right mind that has any kind of decency would think of having sex with a child? An underage girl, who would think of it? So yeah, I heard of human trafficking, as you realize it to the but then when you start to think about it and you focus in on it, I got 7 kids, but I have 7 grandchildren. My oldest is 13 years old. The thought of somebody abusing her would drive me to be a mobster in 1 minute, and take care of that person. This country needs to be unified. If there's anything that can unify people, it's this. Charlie Kirk is not going to unify everybody because there's too much hatred on the other side, because he was considered somebody on the right. He's a Christian conservative, and there's too much hatred for that. But for children being trafficked, average age 13, a 3-year-old being sold for $2.50, this is really going on. If this doesn't bring us together, I don't know what will. Hey everyone, welcome to another Sit Down with Michael Franzese. Hope everybody is doing well. All is very good, very blessed on this end. As always, my friends, I give all the praise, honor, glory, and thanksgiving to our God for that. I really hope everybody is doing well. Lots been going on ever since this tragedy, this assassination of Charlie Kirk on September 10th. It's all we're hearing about, but you know what? A lot of good is coming out of this, and people have said this many times. You know, what the enemy meant for bad, and that assassination and murder was meant with the most evil intent, God will turn around and use for his glory if we allow him to. And I see so many people getting ready to do just that. Charlie Kirk's murder, his assassination, that terrible, tragic event, God is using that event. He didn't cause it. God doesn't cause evil to happen. But he's inspiring. People now are inspired to do good as a result. And we're seeing a wave of things happening over this country. All of a sudden, God is being brought back in. That memorial, unbelievable. I watched all 4 hours of it. Everything was about bringing God back into this country is what we need. We need a revolution. We need a revival. I've been saying this. We need a Jesus revolution. That's what we need in this country. The greatest man that ever walked the face of the earth, Jesus of Nazareth, and of course, our Savior. If we bring Jesus back into this country, you're going to see a huge difference, no doubt about it. And I think this revival is starting. I pray to God that it is. Well, you know, we have another evil in this country and in this world, I would say. And it's disgusting. It's despicable. We've been dealing with it with Epstein and Diddy and all this stuff that's been coming out. And of course, it's the abuse of young children in this whole human trafficking disgusting debacle that we've been having over the past God knows how long. I mean, it's been going on since the beginning of time, I think, in a way. But it's become more pronounced, worse of a situation than we've ever had. And I think a lot has to do with the internet and social media and communication and all this kind of stuff. It's horrible. And people, anytime children are abused in any way, physically, anyway, it's just disgusting. You know, people, I've been calling for all the release of all the documents in the Epstein case. I don't think we're going to see it. I think there is powerful forces behind this, and we're not going to see it. It's my opinion, you know, and I think it's right. And I think it's a charade that the left is asking for it. They didn't ask for it through the Biden years. No, they didn't ask for it then. They're asking for it because they know they're not going to get it. And the reason they're not going to get it, maybe because there's powerful people on both sides of the aisle that they don't want to bring forward. But the left is using it now, of course, to go after. We get it. It's a game. It's a game that they play back and forth. Left, right, left. They play the game. We're not going to get it. But that doesn't change the fact that these despicable acts of human trafficking, and that's what Epstein was involved with, of these young girls, luring them to his island, luring them into a bedroom, and having powerful people have sex with them and abuse them, and many of them were minors. This is what he was engaged in. And unfortunately, it's happening all over the world. You know, I have some stats, and I have to read them, people. You got to understand the gravity of this. I did a live. We launched a relationship, a partnership I'm having with Paul Hutchinson and his wonderful foundation, where he rescues rescues these kids. You saw the movie Sound of Freedom. That was Paul Hutchinson. It was his undercover operation in that movie Sound of Freedom. He financed some of the film. He's a wealthy guy, but he has a heart for these young people. It moved him in such a way that for 10 years, he did over 70 undercover operations where he rescued these young children from human trafficking, from these animals. They're animals. If this was back in the day in a mob, we identified these guys, honestly, we would have killed them all. I'm not saying that's right. That's what mobsters do. We would have killed them all. You don't have children. No circumstance. You go to jail, you're a pedophile, you better lock down. Even inmates have a morality when it comes to children. You don't do this stuff. Paul Hutchinson, 70 undercover operations over the past 10 years. He's rescued countless number of children. And he not only rescues them, but he heals them. This is the thing. Healing them so they can go on and maybe have some kind of productive life. And we did this live where we engaged in a partnership where every single bottle of wine that we sell from this point on out of Franzese wine, a good percentage of the money is going to support his foundation to help these human trafficked kids, to help find them, rescue them, and heal them, which is most important. I love what Paul said. He doesn't want to make a dent in this. He wants to eradicate human trafficking in our lifetime. And he believes we can do it, and so do I. A concerted effort. This is something we all can get behind. Left, right, I don't care. I don't care if I disagree with everything else in your life. Let's agree on this, and let's support it, and let's help it. That's what we're doing. Every bottle of Franzese wine, from this point on, a percentage of it is going to Paul Hutchinson's foundation. Very transparent. Paul's a wealthy guy, doesn't need the money. All the money is going to rescuing and healing these young children. I have vetted him. I have complete confidence in him. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to help eradicate human trafficking of young children, both boys and girls. Boys and girls, not only girls, in our lifetime, my lifetime. I have a shorter lifetime, most likely than Paul. He's about 20 years younger than me, but I want to do it in my lifetime. I want to read you some statistics that are going to make you sick. They should make you sick. Listen to this. Today, an estimated 10 million children are victims of trafficking worldwide. Do you hear what I just said? 10 million children are victims of trafficking worldwide. We don't have states in this country that have 10 million people. 10 million children, as I sit here, are being human trafficked and abused throughout this world. It's sickening. Sickening. So many of them crossed our border. Over 300,000 that we lost contact with. God knows what happened to these kids. I believe that we've identified and found I think 100,000, I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. Recently, under the new administration. We don't know what happened to these kids. 10 million kids are being human trafficked. I'm going to get you more upset. Listen to this. The average age of a trafficked child is just 13 years old. 13, average age. So go 6 years on top and 6 years below. What do you have? You got kids at 7, 8 years old being human trafficked. And Paul told me a story about one of them in Haiti after the earthquake. A 7-year-old child lost their parents, her parents. Human traffickers got a hold of her, and for the next 10 years, they trafficked her, meaning that they had her have sex with despicable people that would have sex with a 7-year-old and an 8-year-old and a 9-year-old. Paul happened to find this girl when she was 14 years old. She had been human trafficked and abused from the time of 7 till the time of 14 years old. He went in one of his undercover operations. He went into this seedy building that had doors that were steel doors that you had to open with a key. They couldn't get out from the other side. And then there was a filthy, filthy cell, worse than the cell that I spent time in. A filthy cell where this young girl at 14 years old was sitting on a filthy cot. She was dirty. And you know what they did? They move her out of there to another filthy room with a queen-size bed laying on the floor with condoms all around. And that's where these despicable degenerates had sex with that girl. Do you believe this? Disgusting. It's despicable. It's demonic. It's satanic. It's hateful. It's everything else. How could you ignore a situation like this? It's absolutely disgusting. Let me read on to get you more sick. This is just hard to digest. Traffickers sell children for an average of 10 years, 20 times a day. That means they take these kids, young girls and young boys, they take these kids and they have them sexually abused for an average of 10 years, 20 times a day. How do they even survive? How do these kids even survive this? For 10 years, 20 times a day being sexually abused. Kids, average age 13, up to 17, 18, 19, and as low as 7 or 8 years old. Degenerates, scum of the earth, that would traffic these kids for money, and those that would abuse these kids and give their money for it. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting, demonic and satanic. No doubt. I have to bring attention to this because I can't even, before I really met with Paul, before Epstein and before Diddy, I didn't think of this. Who the hell in their right mind that has any kind of decency would think of having sex with a child, an underage girl? Who would think of it? So yeah, I heard of human trafficking. Is it real? Is it to the but then when you start to think about it and you focus in on it, I got 7 kids, but I have 7 grandchildren. My oldest is 13 years old. The thought of somebody abusing her would drive me to be a mobster in 1 minute, and take care of that person. My grandchildren go down to the age of 2 years old. He told me another story. Listen to this. And this is true. Paul is very transparent. None of this stuff is made up. It's real. It's real. A mother human trafficked her 3-year-old daughter. And you know how much? It was in Mexico. You know how much she got for that? Every time she put the 3-year-old out? $2.50. American. $2.50. And after they abused this 3-year-old for a length of time, she said, I don't want her back anymore. And they killed her. It sounds like a horror movie. Like it's fictional. It's not real. This doesn't really happen, but it does, and it is happening. If this doesn't bring people together, I don't know what will. I really don't. It's disgusting. It's got to be one thing. This country needs to be unified. If there's anything that can unify people, it's this. Charlie Kirk is not going to unify everybody because there's too much hatred on the other side because he was considered somebody on the right. He's a Christian conservative, and there's too much hatred for that. But for children being trafficked, average age 13, a 3-year-old being sold for $2.50, this is really going on. If this doesn't bring us together, I don't know what will. After they're done with them, some of them are thrown onto the streets. They just throw them out after 7 years. You're no good anymore. Nobody wants to have sex with you. They just throw them out into the street. They don't have anywhere to go. They don't have a parent. They don't have a place to go. They've been in bondage for 10 years. Where are these kids going to go? They throw them out in the street. Probably commit suicide, get killed. Who knows what happens to them? Or maybe another human trafficker picks them up. Who knows? Their life is destroyed at that point. And then you want to hear something even more disgusting? They sell them to these other Satanists, got to call them that kill them and sell their organs. People, I'm not making this up. I told you once I would never mislead you. I'm not asking you for anything. You buy my wine, you don't buy my wine. That's up to you. I'm just telling you that everything, every bottle of wine that I sell, we're contributing to this. And not only this, I have a pizza company. We're going to be doing the same thing when we're ready to do it, and that's going to be shortly. We're building that company. It's going to be the same. I am going to stand by this cause and try to do what Paul Hutchinson said, eradicate this human trafficking trafficking among minors in my lifetime. I'm committed to doing that. I can't sit by. I can't sit still. I just can't. In any way that I can be of use, I'm going to do it. Not only with my money, but with my time, if my time can add anything to it. Sells them off to be killed to sell their organs? What kind of satanic, demonic animals do we have in this world? It's, again, we're in spiritual warfare, people. It's good against evil. Spiritual warfare. The Bible lays it out. We can't sit by. This is true. This evil does not discriminate. It crosses every line: social status, race, religion, language, gender, and age. You know, people, this is one thing we can come together on. I'm sick of hearing about all this racist stuff in this country. I'm sick of the, Reverend Al Sharptons. I'm sick of the Jasmine Crockett's. Every other word out of their mouth is race. I'm sick of any white person that's always talking about race to benefit themselves, to hope to get the black vote. That's all. They don't care about you. My black brothers and sisters are finally understanding and realizing these people don't care. They use it as a platform. They could care less, because if they cared, they would have done something about it. They've done nothing to help the black race. Black Lives Matters has done nothing. They robbed $93 million they got. What did they do? Why are we not hearing from them? They don't care about it. They use it as a platform to get votes. That's it. Race, 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 race. Give me a break. We have racism since the beginning of time, and it'll go since the end of time, because it just happens. But this isn't a racist nation here in America. Everything points to the opposite. But if people really wanted to help those that are underprivileged, those that don't have the same opportunities as others, that's where money would go. That's where the help would go. That's how you help communities of black, red, white, whatever it is. By putting your money where your mouth is, and help these people at a young age. Educate them, teach them right. Teach them that the nuclear family means something. That's the root of all these problems we're having in this country. Breakup of the family. I know. I spent years in prison with a lot of young black kids coming into the system. Not one of them had a father figure in the house. All of them were gangbangers selling drugs because they had no guidance. I didn't blame those kids. You want to say you don't need a father in the house? The hell you don't. Yes, you do. The family is everything. One of the things, Charlie Kirk got murdered because he talked about having families, having as many kids as you can have. Got murdered for that. One of his, the things that he preached or tried to get people to understand, because he was happily married. Gonna fault him for that too? I'm happily married. Is that a sin? That bad? Is that evil? More than 80%. This is disgusting, people, but this is true. These facts, these things, I'm not making this up. This is factual. You can look at it anywhere. More than 80% of trafficking cases are familial, meaning the child is trafficked by somebody they know, a relative, a teacher, a friend, or a neighbor. You know what Paul said? Paul told me, he said, Michael, you can get in a neighborhood, stand at the steps of your front door, and look to the left or to the right, and I can almost guarantee you that somebody in that neighborhood a child is being abused sexually by somebody in their family or somebody that they know. Maybe another neighbor, maybe a teacher, maybe a coach, somebody that they know. An uncle? Yeah. A father, a mother, maybe, who knows? It's familial. So what do? You got to educate your kids. You got to tell them. You got to have a good relationship with your kids. They got to be able to come to you. Hey, you know what? Uncle so-and-so he's saying things to me that are making me uncomfortable. And then you got to research that and find out and look into it. The teacher in school she patted me in a place that made me uncomfortable. My coach, I was undressing and he or she walked in on me. Stuff like that. But you have to have the relationship with your children that they're willing to come to you and tell you when something like this goes down, so you have to communicate this to them. It's terrible that we have to do this, but we must. This is part of the eradication. Prevention. Paul is three-prong in his foundation. Prevention, rescue, and healing. Prevention, rescue, and healing. That's what we're donating to. We have to prevent it by informing our children at a young age. We have to rescue them, Paul's undercover operations that are working, and then we got to heal them for this terrible tragedy if they went through it. And it is tragic. It is. Because you're, in a way, you're murdering the innocence of a child by abusing them. My friends, as you can see, I think those of you that watch my normal Saturday morning lives when I'm available to do that, you know that I get pretty passionate about things that are upsetting to me. I get angry, maybe you can say it. But this is something that is just so hard to understand. I cannot process how any adult could want to abuse or have sex with a 7-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 14-year-old, a 16-year-old. I find it very hard to process. You know, as a former mobster, I did some things that were, you know, people wouldn't like. I wouldn't like what I did back then, you know, but never to this degree. Would never abuse a woman, would never abuse a child. Never. I mean, I don't understand it. And these are people, when we look about the Epstein thing, these are people of wealth, people of power. They think that they're entitled to something like this, you know? And people, this is not a political thing. I'm not getting into any politics. I don't want to get into the politics of what's going on with Epstein. The root problem of this is that there are degenerates out there in high places, whether it be government, the boardroom, whatever. There are people in high places that think that they're entitled to abuse young children, sexually and any other way. And it's despicable and it's disgusting. And if this isn't an issue that brings everybody together, whatever race you are, whatever political ideology you hold, whatever, if this isn't an issue that does it, I don't know what else is. I really don't. So what am I asking? This is a call to action, people. You have to come together. And you could either support it through Franzese wine or not. But it's something that we have to be conscious of, and we have to be unified against, and we have to do everything we can to eradicate human trafficking in our lifetimes. And I want to thank the people that, you know, contributed. We launched this, and a lot of people contributed. We had this special bottled wine that we gave, and we're sold out of it. It's gone. People were very generous in that regard. And we appreciate it, but again, this isn't about Franzese wine alone. This is about everybody coming together, really, coming together to try to eradicate this problem. It should be an issue that doesn't leave your mind after this podcast. It should be something that you say, you know what, this sunk in. And I want to tell you something. I took some calls when we launched this on our live with Paul, and some of the people that called in were victims themselves as children. One gentleman called in. It was him, his brother, and his daughter were victims of child abuse. You can call it human trafficking, you can call it child abuse, whatever. It's all together, you know, sexual abuse of a minor. We had victims that called in and said, well, thank you so much for getting involved in this, and thank you so much for supporting a cause. You know, so I want you, whether you do it through Franzese wine, you do it directly with Paul in his Child Liberation Foundation, I think it's something that we all need to get together on. I'm going to be doing more. I'm not going to announce it yet until we get to that point when we're able to do what we do, and that won't be too far down the line. You know, our first step was donating a percentage of our sales of every bottle of wine from this point on, but we're going to be doing more, both as a company and individually with Paul. And Paul is just about the leader through his Child Liberation Foundation. And again, I have to say, this is a three-pronged approach. Number one, it's preventing human trafficking. We don't want any more kids to be a victim of this. That's number one. Number two, rescuing. He sets up these rescue missions. They're all undercover operations where he puts up his own money. Because you got to play the game. It's undercover. I call him the Donnie Brasco, you know, of this movement, because that's what it is. I saw pictures of Paul. He looked like a degenerate that would want to engage in this, because that's how he did it. He had to go undercover and be one of them to rescue these kids. And he's rescued thousands. Prevention, rescue them, and then heal them, which is a big effort. It's a big effort. And it takes all of us, really all of us, to join in whatever which way we can, any which way that we can, to help this just horrible part, this human tragedy. And that's all we can call it. So I really hope you join me in one way or the other. And listen, comment. You comment to me and tell me, Michael, I have another way that you can help. Or Michael, I have this idea. Or Michael, I'm willing to get involved in this way. I have a company. I have something that I can do that contribute. I don't drink wine, but I want to do this. We have non-alcoholic wine too, so there's no excuses there if you want to do it through our company. But you get it. I'm making light of this in a way. But what I'm saying is, if there's another way that you can participate, maybe through your business, maybe through a skill that you have that you can offer, any which way that you can participate and contribute, we would appreciate it. And I really mean that. Because Paul put it in my head. When he said to me, Michael, I don't want to make a dent in this. I want to eradicate human trafficking of children in my lifetime. Eradicate is the word. That's what we're trying to do. That's what this initiative, this movement is all about. So I hope, I was able to tug at your heartstrings just a little bit, people, because the thought of it, I was telling my wife, she says, lately, what's wrong with you, man? At night, you're fighting, you're kicking, and I'm saying, you know what, babe, this has been on my mind. It really has been. I see my little, 2-year-old Jet, and he comes over the house, and I think of him as being 3, 4, and 5, and I think of my grandsons, Dylan and Derek, and my granddaughter, Chloe, she's 10 years old, and I'm saying, oh my God. And Olivia, my first grandchild, she's 13, a beautiful young lady. I can't even picture it, people. I would go wild. I would just, it reminds me when another horrible nightmare that I have. My sister, my younger sister, Gia, when I went looking for her because she had a severe drug problem, when I went looking for her and I'd go to some bar, some joint in Queens, and I'd see her there with some degenerate sticking a needle in her, and I lost my mind, people. I said this, I did more damage, on the street, just, for people that hurt my sister. And this is despicable, drugs, human trafficking of children. It's just despicable. And we have to do whatever we can do. We all have to come together on this, people. This is an initiative and a movement that if we all come together, if we all make our children aware, communicate well with them so they have the confidence in coming to you when something isn't right. Make them aware. It's not a taboo subject. It's something you have to talk about. Please, we encourage you parents to do that so they come to you when somebody approaches them uncomfortably. I think I said about all. I wear myself out when I get passionate about something, people. I think you've seen that in me, but this is something I'm very passionate about. So I'm going to leave it today. It's not the last you're going to hear about with this. I can tell you that. The last you're going to hear from me about this, not the last. But I hope that I've instilled in something to you to really make you think about it. So if you have a way that you want to help, reach out to me any which way. We'd appreciate it. That's it for today, my friends. How do I always leave you? Same way. Be safe and make sure your children are safe. Make sure. Be healthy. Can't repeat that enough. And yes, God bless each and every one of you. And God, thank you. Thank you for using Charlie's tragedy, something that you didn't cause, to bring God back into this country and into our institutions and into our households. God, we thank you for that, for giving us another opportunity to honor you and turn this country around. Thank you for that, and God bless each and every one of you. See you next time.